So our next powerhouse to come to the microphone is Miss Monica Reed, and she'll be sharing how you too belong in the room. Monica Reed, a five-time award-winning #1 best-selling author, was born to impact the nation. She has been on a mission to change the world one family at a time. She is a wife and the mother of 4 children, known as an active resident in a small town of Ewing, New Jersey.
So you, yes you, I'm talking to you. I'm so happy that you're still here with us. I'm talking to you because, like all of us, you too belong in the room. You may think you don't, but you do. I promise you that you do. Why are you not here? Was it a lack of self-confidence? Did you think you weren't qualified enough? Did you think you weren't smart enough? What was it? I promise you that, like all of us here today, you too belong in the room. Again, I am Monica Reed, a 5-time international best-selling author. Last year, in 2018, I won the Indie Author Legacy Award in the relationship category. So how did I win the relationship category when the biggest relationship that I was feeling was the relationship with myself? How did I win a relationship category when the relationship that I was feeling was with myself? The relationship between me and the thoughts that I wasn't good enough. The relationship between me and my family was impacted because of the things that I was thinking in my head. The relationship between me and my career stopped me from being in many rooms like these today. So I promise you that after pushing myself, I can guarantee you that you too belong in the room. A few years ago, I started to speak. I've been able to reach over 300,000 families. What happens if I would have not ever got to the room or shared my story? I couldn't help any other family. I was put here to impact the world. I knew that I was. So what many of you may not know is, in middle school, I did a talent show. I rehearsed and practiced, I drew, I did all this stuff to win Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream poem. I recited that thing. I studied it. I put it down here in my soul. And I won 2nd place on the talent show. It was 2nd place, and I was proud of that. The girl who won 1st place, she danced. So if she was going to win off of dancing, let her go on and win. I'll take that 2nd place, right? I don't even want the challenge. But what I realized was, at that moment is when I lost who I was. I was proud to be a speaker at the young age of 10. I knew that that's what I was supposed to do. But what happened, and the rest of my life had changed in that very moment. Do you know what happened? I was under-celebrated in that moment. I had a standing ovation, but the people who meant the most to me sat down. They didn't clap. They were so busy trying to get out the parking lot before they got stuck up in traffic. But I was this little girl looking for the approval. You did a good job. Well done. You know who that came from? The 1st place winner's father came up and said, young girl, I don't know what it is that is meant for you to do in life, but all I know is that you will change lives. You recited that poem as if you were Dr. King's daughter. Am I really? I was happy. But what I realized, I was happy in that moment, but I let everything else go. I lost all my confidence. Because the people who meant the most to me didn't say, you did a good job. After that moment, life happened, right? You won. I spent my $500 gift card to the mall. It was a lot of money to someone in middle school. Got a new pair of sneakers. I think that's all I could afford, probably. I don't know. A couple of t-shirts. But I was feeling down because I had rehearsed that speech and rehearsed it So nothing that anybody said to me after that moment meant anything. And then, as I mentioned, life happened. I went on to become a wife right after school. Forget the teenage years. A wife right out of school. A mom right after school. I've experienced infidelity, molestation, all this other stuff that just added on to the negative chatter. That I no longer looked back at what I was passionate about. I was passionate about speaking, but I lost her. So I had to do some work. I remember before I did the work, I was landed in a corporate job and I wasn't happy. I was working every day doing something that just paid the bills. As a matter of fact, it just paid daycare, to be honest with you. It really didn't pay the bills. It didn't help my husband out. It paid daycare. But I was going to work every day to make somebody else millions. And I was paying to have my son be watched over, but I wasn't working on my dreams. So I had this crazy moment, and I walked away from corporate. I went home one particular Friday, and I sent them the lottery email. I quit. I will no longer be working for your company. What I realized was I was a leader in an organization that wasn't mine. I was training leaders in corporate to be leaders, and I wasn't making the money that I knew I was qualified to make. I had this gift in me that they were using. They were using me to speak to their leaders, to train their leaders, but I'm not qualified enough to make what the leaders make. That was my aha moment. You lost that little girl over there. You lost her. Who are you? So I had to go back and do some work. And I didn't immediately remember the little girl. I just saw failure. And as I started to really just sit in that thing and really speak and really journal out who I am, before you became mom, before you held all these other titles as wife, I remember the little girl that I had lost. You're a speaker, you're a game changer, you're somebody who in your heart, how can you get paid to do what you love the most? And that's speak and change lives. I couldn't quite figure all that out, but I knew that if I didn't get to the rooms such as these, to figure out who to connect to, what resources did I need, that I would never be able to live my dream out. So I started to go to conferences about 3 years ago, and I started off with a Lisa Nichols conference. I don't know if anybody's ever been to a Lisa Nichols conference, but she will break you down to figure out who you are. And I sat for 3 days, and every time my husband called me, I started to cry. I couldn't even explain for 30 days after I got home what I had experienced. And on day 31, he said, "What happened at that conference?" I said, everybody else went to go figure out who they were and all this extra stuff. I didn't go for that. I went for her to say one thing to me. He said, "You spent 3 days and she only said one thing to you?" I said, "That's all I heard." She said, and I won't even say quote unquote because I can't remember because I was crying. But she said, "You have to stop asking for permission to be you." That right there changed my entire life. I wanted to be that little girl who spoke. I wanted to be the little girl that got to the most powerful rooms. And now I have to let go of everything and all the labels that everybody put on me and get to the rooms that I needed to be in. So 3 years after that, for the next 3 years after that, I made sure that I got to the rooms. And what I realized when I got there was, I already knew what I knew. They were no smarter. You're enough. But you have to get to the room. 2 things you can take away from that. You'll either have confirmation that you belong here, or you'll have new resources to help you build yourself and to become a greater version of you. So if I leave you with anything today, I challenge you or want to say to you, as you can see, I'm on my phone, right? You're not required to remember anything. You're not required to be perfect. but you are required to get to the rooms that you need in order to elevate who you are. And with that, I am Monica Reed, your visibility and legacy consultant. You have to live to leave a legacy. And you can find me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook under monicadreed.com.